Hey everybody, it's Curiosity here, and I have a video for you today about why I think now is the perfect time to be getting back into or starting up of getting into the Digimon TCG. I know there's a lot of talks about it being kind of on a quiet time right now, but I can assure you, at least from what I'm seeing, I think it's going to spike up now that regionals are starting to jump back in full swing here. So I'm just going to go over my reasons whether you are a brand new player to TCGs and wanting to kind of start something, or if you are a veteran who has been on a hiatus of TCGs and you're like, you know what, I want to try something very different. Digimon is definitely one of those to go, and this is just kind of my opinion as to why. So I hope you guys enjoy. But let's get started on our very first reason. We are officially unified between East and West, thankfully. So what that means is that if you're in North America, or if you're in Japan, or if you are in Oceania regions, you are basically all getting the same product around the same time. Previously, we have been very behind. I'm in North America. We've been very behind of Japan. So the advantage of that for us was that we were able to essentially use stats from Japan's tournament events and regionals and everything like that to help us better build our decks. However, the drawback to that made it very challenging at Worlds for Digimon because Japan would have to backtrack their sets to accommodate for the rest of everybody else. Now that we are officially unified, that will not be an issue for Japan, and Japan will be at the same capacity as North America, as Oceania, and vice versa. We will all be at the same capacity as Japan, which is so exciting to be able to have the same level and all of us kind of jump in with new sets of cards going, oh my gosh, what do we do? And have a lot of fun with it. So that is one of the reasons I think the unification is going to be more positive for the Digimon TCG now, because we can all kind of play test things together, and it's not like we're kind of play testing things way ahead of our sets, and we can kind of have a little bit more fun that way. Other reasons, we have two new boxes that are starter decks. So we finally have the release of ST20 and ST21, which are, of course, our Metal Guru and War Greymon adventure decks that are set. So these decks actually have the original 8 Digidestins that you can actually mix and match both of these starter decks together to create one giant, chaotic, beautiful, toolboxy deck, which is an adventure deck, is what a lot of people are calling it right now, which then makes it very budget-friendly for beginners. I think each one is roughly, depending on where you are in the world, I believe they have it marketed at $15.99, but I think in Canada that's like $20 maybe at most, depending on conversion and all that jazz. But they are fairly cheap for starter decks. You're getting the entire starter deck, plus you have a chance to get the Agumon or the Gabumon lottery, which is kind of cool. And guaranteed in all of these boxes, you get alt-arted scrambles, which are a fantastic option card for a lot of decks that have been out, and a lot of players are starting to use them more adamantly. And the alternate art versions that you get in these two decks are so pretty, and I just want to collect them all. So it is a lot of fun. They are very pretty, so definitely look into that if you are looking for something budget friendly that can really pack a punch. Adventure might be the way to go. So we also have the event that is going on for these starter decks, that if you are using these starter decks and you bring a friend, you can actually get a tamer pack, which is pretty sweet, which gives you some really beautiful stamped cards with the Digimon, the globe logo. So it is a very nice stamp. So highly recommend if you get them. Definitely bring a friend with you when you do. It is essentially using one or the other starter deck, and you apply through the Bandai app, and then that's it. So check it out. This is going on for a while. I think it goes until May 9th, I believe. So you've got some time to kind of bring a friend, enjoy, play a box, have fun. So that's that. Next up, another really good reason is we do have our World Convergence set officially released. This is the one that unifies us all together. And man, are these cards so cool. Like, they actually look really, really neat. I'll have to pull up the list for you there. But the event itself that's running right now goes until, I also believe, May 9th. I think they run the same cycle, so that's always nice. But you get to, just for participating, you get an Imperial Demon Paladin mode, which I'm telling you now, this card is insane. Both with the counterplaying and actually being able to play it. This card is fantastic. And then, of course, you get the some extra packs. The winner gets like a shiny textured version of the Imperial. And man, it's so cool too. But you also get, of course, 6 packs for playing in the release event. And then you guys, it's kind of like Magic Draft. If you've ever played Magic before, or if you played anything where you're kind of given X amount of packs, you crack open the packs, and then you have to build a deck out of it and play the deck. And if you win, you get the prizing, which is pretty cool. So I think that this is really cool. The box itself has some really pretty cards and some very familiar faces. So if you are nostalgic and you're like, you know what, I really want some cool looking cards, I'll show you some pictures here if it loads. But yeah, I think that this box was a really enjoyable box. Also because you get a promo mass tape maybe if you pull it, which is really nice because I really needed it. But also we got some familiar faces here like Shoutmon, War Greymon, some new faces like Globemon and Gaiamon, I believe, is in here as well somewhere. Medusamon is in here. You've also got some really pretty alt arts. If I can jump ahead and it'll load. There we go. These are like kind of the promo ones. The Angelmon Ace is so pretty. But yeah, that mask day is nice too. But you got a lot of signed cards as well. I forgot to mention that. You have signed cards. And I am looking forward for signed cards because I think they're cool. You also have these serialized cards for Omnimon now that exist, which is nice. And a couple other extra little goodies that are in there. So definitely a good box to look into for the amount that you get out of it, which is pretty nice. So yeah. Moving on, of course, we have another reason, which of course is the ban list. So usually after every Worlds that happens, there is some sort of a banned or restricted list. Sometimes they do it midway, sometimes they just wait until Worlds. They decided to hold off because usually they do it sooner, but they held off and they were right to do so because they want to make sure that the unification would be at the same time as sort of this ban list started being phased out. So the ban list really balances a lot of these more kind of very strong card sets that we've been dealing with and Japan has been dealing with for so much longer. It does kind of slow a lot of these more troublesome decks down, which then makes it pretty easy for us as players to have a chance at fighting things. Bandai has been really good with their bans and restricted lists that they really help with, you know, not trying to deal with like meta all the time. But that being said, there are a ton of different decks that are considered meta. So you're not only going to see people only playing a blue deck, you're going to see people playing yellow decks, people playing green decks that are also just as strong as the blue decks. We have Alysion coming out soon, which is essentially the equivalent of Master Duel for Digimon. So it is going to be really exciting when this gets released because this is actually a Digimon TCG simulator that will be, I believe, on, I'm assuming it will be as a mobile app from what I remember. So you've got that kind of element to work with and it's a free-to-play game, so I'm curious to see where they'll go with it. But definitely if you want, check out those videos. It looks pretty good. But they don't have a release event yet, like an official date yet, but we're fingers crossing and hoping we get it soon, hopefully by the end of the year, maybe next year early. Fingers crossed, it'll be pretty exciting. But let's say you're like, you know what, I want to get into the game right now. Kiri, I want to play something right now. What can I do to play something? Well, I got stuff for you. We have the tutorial app. If you really want to do the tutorial, there's a little basic version of the game as an app. It's on Apple as well. It is on Android as well. We also have, of course, Hoang Zero's DCGO. This is fantastic. It is a bit more automated, which is really, really nice. And the developers of this took so much time in, and I appreciate them so much for being able to put this out. So if you're looking for a program, definitely check out this version of it. It is fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. And you get to actually play the cards, see the cards, and they are very good at keeping things up to date. They don't release anything that hasn't been officially released yet. So they should have BT21 up either this week or already up. So definitely be checking that out if you're looking for something kind of there, and you get to play people online. And it's very much like you can drag, you can drop, and it automates and reminds you when the attacks go. It's a very good way to start learning how to play the game and understanding how the time works. The other one that I recommend is, of course, Project Racel. This is kind of the opposite one. So a lot of people say that DCGO is good for practicing how to play, and then a lot of people say like Project Racel is great for play testing future decks. So what is really nice about Project Racel here is, of course, you can have a ton of different decks just like you can in DCGO, but you can also get the unreleased stuff. So anything that is kind of and being announced that will be coming out usually is on Racel very early, which allows you to kind of play test proxies a lot easier. So that is something to kind of keep in mind. But on top of that, this one is a lot more manual, so you do have to kind of move the cards where you need them. You have to remember your own effects and verbally declare them, or in the chat if you're playing against people that you haven't met, you are definitely doing something like that where you are typing in the chat saying effect, does this, etc. Whereas DCGO, that is a little bit more automated. It's a little bit more player friendly. So both have good merit to them. It just depends on if you're looking to playtest versus if you're like, I want to playtest decks that already exist. So I believe our regional is going to be based in BT21. So everything will already be on DCGO, which you can also check out. So that is essentially all of that good stuff. The other thing is if you're like, you know what, I want to try to get into some local events or some other things. Digimon does a lot of webcam locals, which is really nice. There's Eagle's Nest that does a bunch, which usually like Risu or DigiPanda are commentating on those. There is also a few other ones. I'll leave them in the chat below in the description because I can't remember them off the top of my head. But there are essentially a ton of little cool online locals if you're interested in like webcam locals. Usually your local game store should have a Digimon event here and there if that's something you want to do. And or you can always just kind of start one up, which is pretty exciting. So yeah. But alas, I should also mention that DCGO and I believe DCGO, Racel, and soon to be Alysion are free to play. So you do not have to spend a dime on them to get them, which is pretty exciting. So with that, I will leave all the links in the description below, so be sure to check it out. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you for the next video. If you want to ever play on friendlies with me, I'm usually playing on Sundays. We usually do Sunday friendlies, so be sure to come check out my YouTube for that, or my Twitch for that. Either or, I am there, so I will see you all later. Well, anyway, that concludes my video. I think Digimon overall is a really great game to get into. Mechanics are easy to understand. The community itself also is very friendly. So I think most of the people, if not everyone I've kind of talked to, has been super friendly and super kind. So if you're looking for a good community, Digimon is definitely a good one to be in. So with that, hopefully I will see you in the community very soon. But other than that, I will see you at the next video. Bye!